Transfers, one of the hottest topics surrounding college sports these last few years, and we've been seeing a lot of movement amongst many divisions. From D1 all the way down to the lowest classification, we've been seeing players move around and find opportunities elsewhere. The transfer aspect of college sports has always been around, but now with today's technology, making connections with universities all across the nation has become easier. And that's the reason why we've been seeing so many players move from here to there, because all it takes is one message, one email, one phone call. Hey, even somebody like myself can contact a university's athletic department. Imagine being a 5-star recruit and saying, hey, I'm tired of this place. I want to come play with you. Boom, you out there. Next year you're playing full-fledged. Now, not only has this affected the top level of collegiate sports, it affected all types of schools. Even the HBCUs are feeling the heat. Now, if there is a player suffering on a higher level, it was familiar to see them go down a notch to maybe Division II or maybe to a smaller D1 school. But these days, we're seeing players go from the HBCUs or D2 schools to Power 5 conferences. Now, that goes back to our conversation about the NFL draft, feeling as if not a lot of talent is in the smaller schools. So what we're seeing these days is that players who've been having great success on the lower level are being asked to move up to a higher level to play. And today we're going to cover individuals who's doing that or the opposite. And all of these players will be either leaving a HBCU or coming to one. First off, we're going to cover the basketball players. And number one on our list today is Tyler Baller. The former Jackson State standout has committed to the University of Memphis after playing 4 impactful seasons at Jackson State, where she became a full-time starter during the 2022 and 2023 season, where she averaged a career high of 12.3 points per game and 4.8 rebounds, earning her first of 2 All-SWAC team selection. And this past season, Baller led Jackson State to their 3rd SWAC championship in 4 years. She put on a phenomenal performance against UConn in the NCAA tournament, where she scored 25 points and knocked down 5 3-pointers. Now, her move to Memphis is basically for exposure and to show people that she can play on a high level, because if she want to make it to the next level, that's what they're going to use, especially in basketball when there's only 2 rounds and a few teams to choose from. You got to put yourself in that position. But if she succeeds at Memphis, that will further the conversation about if the talent is there on those lower levels, and she will have opportunity to prove that this year. Next up, we're going to slide to the MEAC and discuss Mr. Jamari Thomas, the former Norfolk State Spartan. Now, he's the reigning MEAC Player of the Year after putting on the show. He averaged 16.9 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 2.1 steals. Thomas decided to take his talents to the University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, who had a pretty impressive season last year. They shocked a lot of teams throughout the regular season, and in the conference tournament, things kind of fell flat for them. But hey, they have something to build off there. Hey, I watched a few of their games myself, and I was surprised at the effort that those guys put in. Now, Thomas will bring another scoring option to the Gamecocks, as well as a lot of leadership. And we understand how great of a leader he is, as he led the Norfolk State guys to a historic win in the collegeinsider.com tournament. And that tournament crowned Norfolk State as the first HBCU ever to win a Division I postseason tournament. And I'm gonna make sure to keep my eyes on this young man next season. And I want to see how he's going to fit in with that squad. And I think the Gamecocks will continue to shock people as their coach is putting together a great roster with additions like Jamari. Now, still on the basketball side of things, next up, we're going to discuss Miss Shalomi Sanders. Everyone should be familiar with who she is. She's Deion Sanders' daughter. Now, she played for Jackson State a few years ago on the basketball squad and transferred along with her father and brothers to Colorado. But now she's heading back to the SWAC to play for Alabama A&M. Now, throughout her first 2 collegiate seasons, she hasn't played much, but she has some untapped potential, and her notoriety will also bring more exposure for Alabama A&M as it did for Jackson State and as it did for Colorado. And her transfer to Alabama A&M, according to her coach, gives her a fresh start and develop her game further. Now it's time to slide on the football side of things. And first up, we got Mr. Jacob Newman, the Johnson C. Smith standout running back, who made an immediate impact in his freshman season after being selected to the CIAA All-Rookie team and rushing for 476 yards and 7 touchdowns. And in his sophomore season, he continued to put on a show, but this time he shared the load with his brother in the backfield. Now, he still has 2 years of eligibility left, and he's seeking a new opportunity right now. And we know he's going to try to climb the ranks and get into a higher division. And it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. Hopefully he will stay in the Southeast and find a home at one of the MEAC schools. Now next, we're going to talk about Tennessee State's Terrell Allen. He led the FCS in tackles for loss last season, and he's the reigning winner of the Buck Buchanan Award, which is awarded to the best defensive player of the year on the FCS level. Now, he will be heading to Tulane, which is a hot school right now down there in Louisiana, and he will get a chance to showcase his talents on a higher level. And you guys keep an eye out on Tulane's defense next year, because this kid right here is something serious. And he gave all he could while playing for Coach Eddie George out there at Tennessee State, and the Tulane Green Wave added a great player to their defensive front. Now we're going to slide over to Mr. Clyde Price III, the former running back for the Akron Zips, and he's heading to the SWAC. He was a respectable recruit coming out of high school. Unfortunately, things didn't work out at Kansas State. Went to Akron, which is a smaller school. Things didn't work out there for him. Now he's here at Jackson State. And I think it's more on the playing time side for this kid, as he ran for 309 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he also added 31 receptions. Now, when he comes to Jackson State, he's still going to have to share the backfield with their breakout star, Irv Mulligan. But that will also bring a nice little change of pace for that team, and I think this will still give him a great opportunity to showcase his talent. Now moving along to Mr. Jonathan Horton, the Baton Rouge native who played at the University of Virginia. He was a highly touted recruit coming out of Baton Rouge, who's shown flashes of his potential in his sophomore season at Virginia. Now, adding a Power 5 player to your team as an HBCU is always a plus, and he's going to bolster up Grambling State's defense for sure. Now we're going to slide over to the MEAC and discuss Mr. Eric Phoenix, who will be heading to South Carolina State, and this transfer will reunite him with his former head coach, Chennis Berry. Now, Coach Berry coached Eric Phoenix at Benedict College, which is another university in South Carolina, and these guys put on a show for Columbia, South Carolina, winning a boatload of games. And after having a lot of success, he decided to transfer to Murray State. But unfortunately, things didn't work out the way he thought it would, and he's seen a great opportunity as his former head coach took on a better job, and he will be headed to Orangeburg, South Carolina now to put on a show in Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. Now, this is a match made in heaven, as Coach Berry gets someone who's familiar with his system to lead his team offensively, and Phoenix gets a coach who understands his game. And I believe with Phoenix at quarterback, the Bulldogs are going to be a big threat in the MEAC. And last but not least, we're going to cover Mr. Johnny Chaney, the former FAMU linebacker who's heading to Colorado. Dion, you out there still pulling HBCU players up. So Johnny Chaney will get a shot at displaying his skills on the FBS level. He was one of the main players on the Florida A&M defense last season, where he accumulated 73 tackles and 7.5 tackles for loss. Now, this move right here will reunite him with his former recruiting coordinator, Devin Respress. and he believes that Chaney's tenacity and leadership will be a valuable asset to the Colorado Buffaloes. And with that being said, that wraps up our video. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed researching the information about it. And we have some great players to keep an eye on for this year. And we can see a lot of movements going on. And we're starting to see a pattern with players being called up to the higher ranks from HBCUs, which is showing us that the talent is here. And you can see Dion hasn't took his eyes off of HBCUs ever since he left. He's always looking to add to his roster because there's a lot of expectations they have for that guy out there in Colorado. But like always, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel for more updates. And I'm out. Peace.